A good Tuesday evening, everybody. Chris McDonald back with you. We're grateful to have you on this Tuesday night. This is normally the night we have this young, beautiful lady on with us anyway, and we was hoping she could be with us tonight. I was going to try to get her on for Thursday night. We may get her back. We might get a double dose of Leslie Millwee, but we got one dose of her tonight. Good to see you tonight, friend. How are you on this Tuesday night with all this election stuff going on? A lot of news there and some other stuff we need to cover as well. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too. And, yes, this is exciting. I think Cori Bush was beaten, so that makes me happy for Missouri.
Cori Bush was beat tonight? Wow.
She was.
Good. Another good riddance. Good riddance. And the Thandadar or whatever his name is, that crazy Indian, he was way behind. Now he's ahead. I hope he goes down too tonight. I really do. But all eyes are on Michigan tonight, and I'm going to give the folks the latest here at Leslie, and we'll talk about it. Now, this is within the last hour. Actually, this is up to date as of 9:51 earlier tonight, so we're about an hour and a half away from this. I'm going to hit the refresh button to see if we get an update. But it looks like that Al Sayed is up 50 to 46 on Haley Stevens, the moderate Dem. Jocelyn Benson has won the Democrat nomination for governor. But every eye is looking at this race with Al Sayed because he is the communist, the radical Democratic socialist, almost communist, that has been touting some weird stuff like all of them have. But are you surprised by this tonight? That vote margin has increased since me and you just talked like 10 minutes ago. It's up to 35,000 now, and it was actually at just 30,000 here, just about 15 minutes ago. So he's not losing. He was way ahead. She tied him. He's pulled back ahead. He's got an over 50% margin. So this is the people of Michigan now voting for a radical communist. And I expected it out of Maine. I was sort of thinking that the Michigan people would be a little bit more moderate in this. What's your thoughts on all that?
Well, I think Michigan is a pretty moderate place. And I guess you have to account this to those 40-some% that are not moderate. They're wacko. They are, they have a huge population of Muslims there as well. And I think this is just telltale signs. Haley Stevens is not a strong candidate. I'm just looking, it says about 175,000 votes remaining. She is now within. It's gone down a little bit. I'm looking.
Yeah.
She's about 3 points behind.
Yeah, 49 to 46. I'm looking at the same thing. This is coming off of the Detroit, absolutely, the PBS website, I think, is what I'm looking at. And yeah, the PBS NewsHour site. And AP is reporting that same thing. But again, the thing about this kind of primary with 48% of the vote counted, the question is she going to have enough? Because she's going to have to carry at least to overcome a 3-point deficit. That's 30-something thousand votes. She's going to have to carry that by about a 60 to 40 pace. And I'm not sure. I'm with you.
I don't know if she can.
I don't know if she can. I think the headwinds are behind this Democrat Socialist Party, buddy. And I'm going to tell you, I was watching Gutfeld tonight, and Mike Baker, the former CIA operative, he's like Brad Johnson to us, but he's their former CIA operative on Gutfeld and Fox. You know, he said something tonight that was chilling. He said, look, I've been making fun of these people. He said, we make fun of these people. We make fun of Hong in Wisconsin, that's next Wednesday. That's next Tuesday night. Yeah. She's psycho. We make fun of AOC. We make fun of all these socialists and with these commies. This Tarico down in Texas is a nut. You know, and all these nutcases, Mandami. And he said, the American public had better stop laughing and get very concerned. And he said, there's a move in the Democrat Party right now that we may think this is a fringe movement that is sort of like to the far, far left. He said, the Dems have been good at hiding this movement from us, that this has been the Dem Party all along. And now that these more established elites are getting knocked off by these up-and-coming young candidates, again, it's almost like what I've been saying for a week now, too. It's a monster the Dems created, Leslie. And now the monster's eating the elites, and they don't know what to do about it. And they are seeing the handwriting on the wall that these people may be a big hit in the primaries, but you put these people up in the general election. I'm going to tell you something. The Democrats are setting themselves up for a slaughter in November if the American people just halfway show up to the poll and vote.
I think you're absolutely right. It's going to be based on turnout. Democrats, Republicans are bad on off presidential year elections. They don't show up like they should. They're not charged up. I saw Scott Pressler posting something similar to this, just, you know, pleading with everyone to please get out and vote. I do think that when everything is said and done, that the Republican will win this, because again, I think that it is a more moderate state, but you know, it's scary that he has all of those votes. Who are those people?
That's 500,000 people, buddy. Look, that's a 500,000 people, and that's a lot of people. And look, I think Mike Rogers, he barely lost to Elise Stoken last time around. And I think that whoever it is, whether it's Alcied or Stevens, I think Stevens he mops the floor with. Alcied's going to be closer than we may think, but I still think that the Republicans, and I say this to all of us tonight, I don't care if you're Republican or independent, and I appeal to the moderate Democrat out there that you know good and well what's happening in your party, and you look at this, and you may hate Trump's guts. This referendum in November is not about Trump. He's only got 2 years left. It's about your country. And you better understand that these people that are trying to take over, we asked Judge Allen about this tonight. Leslie, can you imagine these people having the power to control the courts, control our government, control the Medicaid, control the financial markets, control governorships, mayorships, Congress, and eventually the White House? Because I don't doubt that their sights on 28 with AOC. I think that's what their goal is it not?
And this is just chipping away at that unlock. I think I'd like to see 10 years out from full-blown socialism if things don't get better. I think people are discouraged. I think they expected, I really think expectations were so high for Trump to fix everything, not start another war. No matter how you look at it, I think that's what people perceive. I do think the economy is a lot better compared to 9% inflation and 2% inflation. That's humongous. But it's perception. These people are still, their wage is not catching up to their income. So it's really hard to argue with that. I know, because I made that same argument 2 years ago, and I totally get it. But you're right, Trump is not on the ballot. But we have to make this about conservative values and principles. These people do not have the same principle and moral compass that we have. They do not, and they never will.
Right. And I will totally agree with you. Listen, we just got an update. 50% of the vote is in, and it's not really changed. It's still 49-46, 367,832 to 342,188. That's about a 25,000 vote difference right now, and Mallory McMorrow will not win tonight. She's got 3.7%. I don't think Mallory's going to make a great comeback, so you can count her out. John James and Mike Rogers, of course, they're going to win the GOP primary. And again, Mike will face the winner of this Alcied Stevens. It is an intriguing thing, though. As I said, Michigan has always been a purple state, Leslie, and I think more of these purple states are showing their true colors. They're shifting a little bit in the congressional races, and we've seen this before. The president wins the state presidentially, and then we get through the congressional part, the Senate and the House, and we see the shift. I see that in Knoxville. I see it in Tennessee. We're as red a state as you can get. But in these local elections, these mayors, and Knoxville's the exception. We got one of the best mayors in the world, Glenn Jacobs. I live east of there now. But in these municipalities, you see a great deal of liberalism in the local municipalities, in the city councils, and these, even I would even say the governor's races, maybe, and the mayors and so forth. Have you ever asked yourself why that is? Why people vote liberal on a local level, but yet want a federal official? Because to me, your local government affects you more than even the federal government does. The federal government can make all the mandates they want. I look at Bill Lee back in the COVID years. Bill Lee kept our state out of a lot of problems. I know he wasn't perfect, and there was a lot of things he did I did not agree with during that time, as I did a lot. Kay Ivey down here in Alabama felt like she sold her people down the toilet, basically complaining about the unvaccinated. But why do you think that is, that people go left locally and stay right nationally?
Well, I think there aren't enough conservative people, and I'm going to kind of preface what I mean by that. I'm talking about the moms and dads that are running their kids to 3 sporting events and doing the grocery shopping and paying the bills. They are not as involved at the local level, because I really do think these people are super busy. And I think when it gets to the point that it's a state level and they go, we really need to do something. I think it's a matter of them just not participating and being as active. And you and I have talked about this before. It may be 2% of the population that's this crazy wacko, but they're the ones making the noise. Republicans don't do that. It has to be a major, major thing for Republicans to stand up. We're not wired like that. We do not attack people for the most part. I'm not saying I haven't and I won't, because I will. But as a whole, I think we really don't figure it out until it's almost too late. We know the school boards are full of all these liberals. Like you said, city council, we're having a huge fight. I did see it on national TV. The Muslim group here in Oklahoma, they're trying to build this humongous Muslim spread in Broken Arrow, which is a suburb of Tulsa.
Saw that.
I mean, the board shut him down, and I know one of those board members pretty well. Went to school with her, have kept in touch with her over the years. I got news for her, for everyone. There is no way in heck that board is going to approve that. But they want to have a place for 10,000 Muslims in this area.
But let me stop you right there and think about what you just said. What would have happened, though, if that board was more liberal than conservative? Because in Oklahoma, that is probably a conservative board. But you think about some of the cities that's happening in, and if you trace it down, I remember a dear friend of ours, and we've not had her on in a long time, and I can't even think of her name tonight, but she told me something years ago when we first started this show, and I'll think about her the second I get off the show tonight, but she told me, she said, the swamp starts in your backyard. And she says, if we don't pay attention to our backyard and pay attention to these local elections, and Leslie, if you think about it, since we're on the subject of local tyranny, was it not the health departments back in 2021 and 2020 that made more of the mandates than even the state and the federal government did? Look, we were shut down in Knoxville, not by the feds. We wasn't even shut down by the state. Bill Lee didn't pass any edicts about the mask. He didn't pass any edicts. The county of Knox County was basically being ruled by a bunch of bureaucrats that were not elected, that just thought they were God on the health board. And they were telling mayors what to do, and they were telling stores what to do. They were telling schools what to do. And I was like, you got to be joking me. Who do you think you are? You're just a health department. You're not the government.
And yes. That's funny that you say that, because I had this very conversation with Bill the other night. Who are these unelected officials, and I'm going to include Fauci in that are not even elected to office? They're appointed, or they move up the ranks, and that's the next place for them. These are the people that are making life and death decisions for us.
That's exactly right. We don't even
have a choice in this. And that's one reason why, we should always make time for school boards and city councils. And it's like any big city. Tulsa is probably more conservative than Oklahoma City, but, there's a liberal stronghold in there. We elected a Democratic mayor in Tulsa this last year or two. And now, not in these bedroom communities. They're about as conservative as you can get, and the school systems. But I'm telling you, they're chipping away. They'll get one or two people on some of these boards, and I'm telling you, that's all it takes.
Yeah. He's update on the election right now, 55% now, so the vote totals are coming in pretty quick. 400,925 to 376, 646. She's gained a little bit in the vote total. It's an even 3-point lead, 49.6 to 46.6. And that's with 55. Of course, they're not calling this race yet because it is too close to call. Listen, I want you to keep that thought because I want to come back to this. I do want to ask you about another story tonight. And folks, your screen's going to go black just for a second. And but I want to add this webpage. I want to read this article to you out of Gateway Pundit tonight. Somebody had mentioned this in the early show with, and I guess it's not going to let me do that. So I'm going to come back over here. Let me come back over to my screen. I'll just read the story. We'll have to work on XSplit to get this. But Gateway is reporting this tonight, and also others, that a heavily armed suspect was arrested at Trump's National Golf Course ahead of the president's visit. I'll read the story to you and I'll get your take on it. A heavily armed man was arrested on Sunday near Trump National Golf Course in L.A. The man was carrying firearms. And this was reported tonight, so evidently they put a lid on the story till today, including hollow point ammunition, and was monitoring President Trump's security preparation. They're reporting this guy is, get this now, and you do the math, Janine John Teal, 38. Let's see if even Chris can figure out what that is. Janine John Teal. You got a female name, you got a male name, 38. I would say pretty much that's probably a transgender. And I'm not trying to make fun of that, but I'm being very serious about it. But I want you to listen to this. Listen to what they recovered now. Are you ready for this? An AR platform rifle, a 1911 .45 caliber pistol, an AR platform upper receiver, body armor, high-capacity magazines, a bulk pistol and rifle ammunition, multiple notebooks containing concerning statements, and 2 radio signal devices. And then the joke is the FBI, First Assistant U.S. Attorney Bill Easley, saying that they're reviewing the evidence and will provide more information when possible. This is an active investigation. You think?
Oh my gosh.
Leslie, there was an assassination attempt. If that's true, that's number 5. That is 5 times that somebody, and my dear buddy Jason Miller said it tonight, really good to me. He said, this is Charlie Kirk 2.0. The suspect is the same. The Charlie Kirk suspect is basically a guy with a trans girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever you want to call it. He's trans himself almost. Homosexual at the best. And then you've got this transgender going after Trump as well. I'm not going to call out the trans community because I know there's a lot of anger out there and a lot of people want to call out the violence there. And I don't want to go down that road tonight. Not tonight. I may do it another night. But what is it saying that all of these attempts of Trump are by that community? That's 2 of them. That's 2 of them that we've got a transgender suspect. And again, we don't know exactly what the FBI knows and what they don't know. That's just what's being reported. That was reported at 7 o'clock tonight. So that's 4 hours ago, 5 hours ago. And it happened yesterday. And now we're just now finding out about it. What's your thoughts on all that? That's pretty wild, isn't it?
Well, it's a very blatant, obvious assassination attempt, of course. He was locked and loaded and ready. My question would be, does he have an accomplice? I'm assuming that's why this was not released immediately, is they may be looking for someone else. That's a lot of artillery and gunpowder for one man. And they did find like 2-way devices and communications. That would be my next question. And I'm wondering what would be the point of not putting this story out there? I mean, can you think of a reason that they would shut this down for anything if they're happening?
Well, this is the thing, and there's 2 things. And I'm checking the vote total while we're talking. But Leslie, I think, look, this is in L.A. Okay, this happened in California. I think the Newsom propaganda machine does not want it getting out that one of their own is trying to kill Trump again. And while the FBI would hold on to it, I don't know. We need to know about these things. I know President Trump knew about it before we did. But the media's not really talking about it. Jesse Waters had something on tonight at 8 o'clock. I've not seen much on the news tonight about it, as much as it should be, and it bothers me. This is an assassination attempt. I don't care what anybody wants to wrap it up as a bow. This is an attempt on President Trump's life. It makes 5, Leslie. 5.
I know.
What is wrong with this country? What is wrong with these people and this nation? What is wrong with us?
Well,
other than being full of the devil.
A lot of it, it's full of the devil, of course, and it's just we've lost our moral compass and our foundation for Christianity, Judaism, all of those things. We villainize them, and you say it long enough, people start to become desensitized to reality. And these people have been given a free rein on what they can do, what they think they can do, what they get by with, and know to be a fact that they get by with it. I mean, Ryan Ruth and some of these people, we know that they've been caught, but they're like Muslims in the fact that they consider it an honor and it's their badge. And, when people don't care if they die or their moral compass is not affected, life means nothing to these people. So I have to assume this guy falls into that. They must be the saddest, most miserable human beings on the planet. I cannot imagine to have that much hate and that much negativity in your life, that is your life.
We just got the story to come up, and there's the story in Gateway Pundit I'm showing everybody right now. that's a lot of ammo, Leslie. That's a lot.
Oh yeah,
That's more ammo than
that's
the guy had at the reporters thing. That guy was going to kill somebody. I think that's
yeah.
pretty evident. Correct?
He was casing the place, and it's 2 days before Trump's trip, and he wanted to know exactly where he was going to be, and he was following around security people. I mean, hello, there's no question. I'm sure more will come out that he had more planning. Again, as I'm reading and perusing through that and listening to Jesse Waters and Rob Schmidt a little, I just think that there's more to that story, and it might be another person. I don't know. Maybe this guy, but I mean, I'm just trying to think from a time standpoint, why didn't this come out? Yeah, I'm seeing NBC reported it, CBS, but by golly, they better report it. I mean, it's another attempt.
Yeah. I wait for the media to blame Trump for this. You watch what I tell you. They'll blame him for this some point and say, they always use that. Every time he's been assassinated or tried to be, the attempts, I should say, they blamed him for it. It's Trump's rhetoric. It's Trump's issue. They blame Charlie Kirk. I don't know who it was that sent me a story today. I think it was a PBS special or one of the networks was basically blaming the Trump movement, the MAGA movement, for the Charlie Kirk assassination a year later, because we're coming up on a year.
Yeah.
And Leslie, they still do not get this. They do not get that their own rhetoric led to this. Look, the right's not perfect. The right could do a lot better in some areas, and I think that sometimes, and I'm part of this media outreach, and there's times we get a little heated on here and we get fired up, but we don't call for the death of people. We don't call for people to take the streets. We don't call for people to be doing things that would cause martial law to be invoked. We tell people the way we handle things as believers. We go to the polls and vote. We pray, and we deal with things that way. We don't call for civil war, and it's not God's way, and it's not the way, period. But the left is not like that. I've got a video, and I can't even play it tonight because of the language in it. But Hong basically has been caught on video saying that Trump needs to be 86th. Now, do we not have a former FBI director under indictment for posting that on a beach? So where's the arrest of her? That's basically calling for his assassination too, is it not?
Absolutely, and they get by with it, so that's why they continue. I don't think, of course, if it hadn't been for Trump, he wouldn't have been arrested. Thank goodness Trump now is surrounded by people that will, follow the law and try to enforce it. But she is absolutely a mentally ill fruitcake.
Without a doubt.
I watched a portion of her. I mean, 6 years ago, she's saying she's white adjacent because her child is biracial, half white and half Korean. Who even thinks of that? Who even says that?
That's a good point.
I don't ever think of somebody in that way. I don't look at somebody and go, oh, well, you're half Korean, or you're half black, or you're half Asian, or, I mean, who does that? I mean, you have to be really prejudiced and a racist to think that way.
Yeah.
I mean, truly you do.
Couple of other stories while we're waiting on these votes to come in. She's closed the gap on him. We'll give you an update right quick, folks. 57%. His lead's down to about 23,000. It was at 25 a while ago, so she's cut into that a little bit, but there's still about a 3% difference. And look, that's a lot of votes. That's about 24,000 votes that she's going to have to make up, plus to overtake that. So we'll see how this goes throughout the night. But did you hear about the brouhaha in D.C.? My brother, I sent this story to him. He was a little ticked about it, and I was too. Jeanine Pirro, and I respect Judge. I respect Judge Jeanine, but she released, and I'll just put this up. Let me come over here and do this, and I'll put this story up for everybody to see it. But she basically released the um, vandals of the pool, that
Reflection
the
pool, yeah.
reflection pool, and I'm like, what are you thinking about, Judge? And I can't get it to go up for some reason. We're having problems with the Gateway Pundit feed. But what is up with that? And Trump blasted her, and he said he's absolutely disappointed. Why do we get these people? And again, I respect Judge. I loved her when she was on Fox. I thought she's done a decent job. But why do these people like this do these crazy nut things out of the blue sometimes? We'll think they're going to be okay. Why would you release these people? They were caught dead to rights. And it just adds to the fuel of this lawlessness, Leslie. If they don't put these people in jail and throw the book at these people, they're going to do it again. That's the whole madness that we're screaming about right now. That's why the people on the right are so fed up.
I know. And of all the people, you would expect something like that from a Pam Bondi, but not from Jeanine Pirro.
Yes.
So I was very disappointed. I could tell when I heard Trump comment, he was hot. He was not happy.
No, he was not happy at all.
I don't blame him. I think you're right. We have it on camera. We have a confession that he did that. He said he downplayed it, but I thought we had him dead to right. I thought there was no getting out of that. So I heard there's more to that story. It's obviously Trump has been briefed on it and knows the whole thing. But I'm very disappointed. I think this just says to the wackos that are inclined to do these things, go ahead. It's okay. You're not going to be penalized for it. You may be inconvenienced, but we're not going to really do anything to you.
Well, I'll read the quote because we can't put the article up. We'll fix this by Thursday night. But they said this was the one mistake with the reflecting pond. They hadn't put up the cameras yet. If they would have had them up, we'd have had a lot of it. It would have been a lot easier. Yeah. I was disappointed with Jeanine Pirro, really disappointed with Jeanine. She folded like an umbrella, and people got away with things, and it's a disgrace. And then he threw the judge into this. He said the judge was extremely unfriendly to Jeanine, and frankly, I think she choked because the judge was really vicious. Instead of going after the people that did it, the judge went after her department, and I guess she choked. I don't know what the HE toothpick happened. And she was seen today leaving the White House with a white box amid reports that her role as U.S. attorney was on thin ice. And I tell you what, Leslie, the thing about Trump, he don't put up with stuff like this. Jeanine Pirro, and she had a job. She had a dream job. She had a chance to do some good stuff in the Washington, D.C. area. And I think this is my opinion. Why is it these TV personalities, when they get into government, Dan Bongino, I like Dan, but he just wasn't up to the job. And that's why he stepped aside at the FBI. And I think that's what happens with these personalities. We see these people on Fox. They talk a good game. They talk a tough game. But you put them in the game, and they fold like an umbrella. And they choke.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I would do any different. I'm not judging them, because I'm going to tell you something. I wouldn't want their job. But that's why we don't hire TV personalities to do the work of the Justice Department.
Right. Yeah. That's so true. I have a huge disappointment in that. I would like to be a fly on the wall and know what happened. I think Dan Bongino's calling in life is to do what he does on the radio and educate people. I think he just really hated it, is what I think. I don't know that he wasn't smart enough to do it. I think he is smart enough to do it.
I'll give you that.
I just think he found the red tape and the BS so overwhelming, he could only tolerate it a year. And I think he told Trump that going in. Hey, I'm going to, try this out. I want to serve you in your administration. But when I feel like I'm not doing any good or I can't do good, I'm out.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he did. You haven't heard much about Kash Patel lately. I don't know what's going on with him, honestly.
Good. That's another situation. And, while we got a few minutes here, we're going to go another can I keep you up just a little bit tonight? If you get tired on me,
Sure.
let me know.
Sure.
I'm trying to.
No, I'm
We're going to
fine.
stay up as long as we can to get this result in. Hopefully, the race in Michigan will call before we get off the air tonight. By the way, the individual that says, "Are we sure that they're not cheating?" Are you joking me? The Democrats ain't going to cheat on their own. They don't cheat their own elections. They only cheat on their on the general election. And the judge is not the one that dropped the case. Eugene Pirro did. Trump went after the judge, but he wasn't upset with the judge. He was upset with Pirro. She dropped it. It wasn't the judge that dropped it. But while we're talking about this, let me ask you this, because this is something that's been disturbing me for a long time. And we've got Todd Blanche tonight that these Rhino senators, Tillis and Cornyn, finally caved. They are going to vote for him. His nomination got advanced. And Collins now is coming out saying she's not going to vote for him. But why has Trump had a struggle with picking good cabinet people? And he had trouble in the first term. He's had trouble in the second term. Is it the people, or is it Trump's got, I've talked to people about this, and they're sort of mixed on their opinion about it. Some people say that his loyalty is his downfall, that he's very loyal to people. If they're loyal to him, he'll be loyal to them. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. You do good for me, I'll put you in office. Not really understanding the depth of that office and not understanding their qualifications. And sometimes square pegs just don't fit in round holes, Leslie. They just don't.
Right.
And there's, is it that, or do you think that it's his ego that he just wants to pick somebody thinking they're going to work, and when they don't, he don't know what to do about it? And I'm not saying that as a negative thing.
It's both. Yeah, well, I mean, he got slaughtered in the first, term. He made so many poor choices for cabinets. Actually, I don't think the Mike Flynn was such a bad thing. I think they just had Flynn at the ready to take down as the first block they were going to take down. But that was the beginning of, all the impeachments and everything, which was even before he took office in 17. So I think it's a combination. I think he doesn't always get the best people. I think that maybe it's like you said, maybe Jeanine Pirro just didn't really have the fight she needed that he expected. And this man is, I was trying to think of a word for Trump the other day when I saw him and knew he had only had 2 hours of sleep and I hadn't slept well the night before. And I thought, how in the heck does this 80-year-old man keep on keeping on? And his personality is frenetic. It's just, he's always on.
Yeah, and I want to make it. Yeah, I want to make it clear to my audience, because we've got a big audience in here tonight. We're not criticizing President Trump. I love him. No. I'm behind him, and I think James Akers said it best last night. He's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. I think that he is, as you said, for an 80-year-old man to handle this the way he's handled it. Look, he's got. I wouldn't want his job. So James said last night. He said none of us would want his job. So I'm not Monday morning quarterbacking. Trust me, I don't know what I do. I mean, I don't see anything differently that he's doing that I would do. I think that he's done fine. I just think sometimes it's and then this is where all presidents fail. It's not them that fail many times. It's the people around them, because you're only good as your cabinet. You're only good as the people surrounding you. And it's sad to think about how many betrayers he's had, how many people that have stabbed him in the back, that have gotten in, they've gotten power hungry, they've gotten media hungry, they've gotten selfie hungry. They want to get on Instagram and X and all these talk shows and these podcasts instead of doing their job. And I have to say, I even look at his vice president in that mean too. Leslie, J.D. Vance has said some stupid stuff over the last few months. It's because he wants to be accepted by the media world. And I got news for J.D. They hate your guts, J.D.
Never gonna happen.
They hate your guts. Yeah. And why sell your soul, and why sell the White House's soul down to Joe Rogan and these other podcasters? Forget that mess. Run the country. Do your job. Do your job.
Exactly. Well, and I don't think that he and Trump are on the same page as everything
They're
for
not.
everything,
They're not.
and that's absolutely fine. But Trump's personality and ego, they're both so strong that they encompass everything. That would be. I tried to put myself in that place. Do you know how hard that would be to deal with? I love what Marco Rubio said one time. I'm flying on Air Force One, but I try to find the most inconspicuous seat and put a blanket over my head because I know he's going to come find me at 4 a.m. and want to talk. And I thought, that is incredible. I mean, this 50-some-year-old guy is dying. He has to have sleep, and Trump is looking at cabinet members trying to come up with new strategies. And I thought that summed it up pretty well.
Yeah.
He does have a huge ego, like every other president we've ever had. You got to have an ego to be able to do that, or you would fail miserably on day one.
Do you think that who's the one cabinet member that has surprised you the most favorably? Who's the one that's disappointed you the most?
Oh, I think I got to go with Marco as my favorite. I just think he's so diplomatic. He does so many things correctly and with wisdom. Disappointment, obviously, I was very hesitant when Pam Bondi was chosen.
Right.
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I think everyone has pretty well stepped up to the plate. I think even in these lesser cabinet positions, I call them lesser, but like Secretary of Education with Linda, what's her name?
Linda McMahon.
McMahon. She's done great things. I mean, basically getting the government out of education is what her whole goal has been. And she is doing brilliantly. So I think some of these look at Scott Bessent. I think he's
doing a great job.
Done great. And those were kind of sleepers to me. I did not know these people. I did not think of them on the radar as being a mover and a shaker in the administration, to tell you the truth. And I think that I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that Donald Trump listens to Marco Rubio more than he does J.D. Vance.
I'm with you there, and I'm going to agree with you, Marco. I'm going to give you a 1A choice, though. He was on CNN this weekend. I think RFK Jr. has been the most pleasantly surprised pick, and I'll tell you why. Of all the cabinet members, RFK Jr. was probably the most different ideologically of Trump on the social issues than anybody. He's had ample opportunity for the first 2 years to stick a knife in Trump's back, and his wife has paid a price for it. She's an actress. And Hollywood has turned on her, and she's has handled it as gracious as anybody can handle it. I watched him on CNN this weekend, and if I could have hugged his neck and shook his hand in person, I would have given him a standing ovation for how he beat down Dana Bash on CNN. I'm telling you,
awesome,
that is how you handle the crap news network. And when she was fumbling around those papers, she no more had a study in front of her. She no more had an idea what those studies were. She was throwing stuff out, and RFK was letting her have it between both eyes, was not blinking, called her a liar, a propagandist, called her, y'all are part of this, y'all are guilty of this, y'all push this stuff on the American people as the media, you're just as culpable as Fauci. And man, I was screaming, go for it, RFK.
I know. I forgot about him. He is fantastic. I feel so sorry for his wife, Cheryl Hines. I think she is, I'm going to call her a liberal because she is. If anybody that hangs out with Larry David's probably liberal, but she has been so graceful and so accepting. And I think she shared on I'm trying to think of, maybe it was Rogan or maybe it was Sean Ryan, how disappointed she is after having these friends for 20, 30, 40 years that they have abandoned her, cursed her out,
Yeah,
said they would never talk to her again because she's a turncoat and a traitor. And she's
that's,
like,
but,
I still have my same opinions. I'm
but,
no different. You're the one that changed.
but Leslie, that's the left. That's the
Yeah.
left. And we on the right do it too sometimes. But just because somebody don't see eye to eye with us politically, it's like that our country has gotten so divisive that we lose friendships and we lose relationships. Families are torn apart, and it shouldn't be that way. If we can't sit
No.
down as a country and discuss things, look, me and you, for the most part, we see eye to eye on most things. But I know there may be some minor things we just have a different perspective on. It would
Right.
never, even if we disagreed on something, we're never going to lose our friendship over that
No,
disagreement
that's
because
ridiculous.
we're
Yeah.
different kind of people. We have something called character and morals. And I've got family members, brothers, blood brothers, that when we get around at Christmas time, our wives leave us alone because they put us in a room and they say, "All right, guys, y'all enjoy your fight," because that's what we do every year, and we argue theology and we get loud and we just let it all hang out as brothers, and then we're laughing about it and we're hugging each other and they're saying, "Christmas dinner's ready, come on in and eat now," and we're good with that, and that's what we do because we're McDonald's. But we don't lose being McDonald's over it. I don't
No.
hate my brothers when I'm gone. I laugh at my brothers. They laugh at me. We hug each other. We're crying on each other's shoulders and I tell you what we tell each other too after it's all over. My brothers know this. I may not agree with them sometimes, but don't let nobody mess with my brothers because they're going to bear
Yeah.
the big bad bear McDonald's wrath if they do. They will. No, they'll bear my wrath, and if somebody messes with me, my brothers I know are going to be by my side and standing with me no matter what. Our country needs to be the same way. We need to be together. We may disagree on stuff, but this name calling and calling for Trump to be killed and assassinated and mega people to be put in jail and mega people to be called deplorable and what led to Charlie Kirk's killing, the stuff that led to Charlie Kirk's murder a year ago, has got to stop, Leslie, or we're not going to have a country. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. It's going to make it easier for these Democratic communists, they're not socialists to me, these Democrat communists to take over this country because of this division. Because of this division. Am I right on that?
Well, oh, absolutely. And you're right. And I was thinking about that the other night, trying to pinpoint exactly when there was such a divide between my Democratic friends and the Republican side. And I'm thinking it all started pretty much in 07 and 08 with the advent and rise of Obama. I think things just really got out of control. Of course, the Tea Party was created. I think our country so needed that. And it was great that we had that. I think it was the time and the place. But we had lousy candidates. I'm sorry, John McCain was a bad candidate. He was squishy, wishy-washy. The same thing with Romney. He's almost he's a Democrat from 30 years ago is what he is.
Yeah.
So, we didn't have good candidates. We didn't have a prayer. I mean, I knew that after Obama's first term that he would be reelected because we had no one to stand toe to toe with him. But things went to a fevered pitch in 2015, 2016 when Trump, everyone, I mean, I can't tell you how many people said, wow, I like what Trump says, but there's no way in hell he's ever going to be elected.
I'll agree.
I mean,
I'll agree.
50 people would say that to me, and I remember being in my office one day and I was talking with one of my colleagues and I kind of think she leans Democratic and she says to me, you know what? I really love Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I think he really loves this country and wants to make it better. And I realized that was, looking back in retrospect, that was probably the turning point when he started getting to those moderate to conservative Democrats. I use that term loosely, but those that had reason that you could speak with. This lady's a Christian. She's always, she's got her social issues that she feels strongly about, and, to each his own. But I realized looking back, man, that was her turning point. That was the country's turning point in early 2016, when we said, you know what? He loves this country and he makes sense. I'm going to cross party lines.
Yeah, and so true. Let's get an update real quick. Keep that thought, because I want to come back to that. His lead has increased. They've got 65% of the vote in, so the vote count is going up. He's at 480, 611. She's at 447. That's a jump to 34,000 votes. It was just 22,000 here about 20 minutes ago. So even though the percentage has not changed, his vote lead has changed, and it's gone higher. I cannot believe that Abdul El Sayed is getting close to being the Democrat nominee for Senate, Leslie, in the state of Michigan tonight, but that's becoming more and more reality. I knew that, I don't know what it is right now, these communist candidates. I think Sean Hannity said it, there's been 240, think about this, 240 put on the ballots. 40 of them have won. So that means that's more than 10%.
Right.
That's a pretty high percentage. And again, I would have, if this was a New York primary tonight, or a New Jersey, or a Connecticut, or a Maine even, I pray for the state of Maine. I just do.
Oh my goodness.
I love you Mainers. If we got anybody out there that's Mainers, I'm praying for y'all, but I'm praying for you Michigans. And by the way, while I'm at it, share something with you and we can talk about this a little bit while we're waiting for these vote totals to come in. I'll keep you another half hour, and then I'll let you go. Thank you for being with me tonight. It's been good stuff.
Of course.
Always a good discussion with you. Our Chris and Leslie show's taking steam. We're getting some traction on. We're working on it, ain't we? But I saw a documentary. It was a movie, but it was a documentary. I started watching it this weekend. The downing and the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103. It was all the way back in 1988. Reagan was just getting ready. It was happening this Christmas season. It happened December the 21st. The plane was flying from London to New York, and it got over Lockerbie, Scotland. It blew up. It was a bomb that was put on the plane by evidently a Hezbollah terrorist. And there was a guy named Hafar Jafari who was a prime suspect in doing that. And his family was, of all places, in Dearborn, Michigan. And when I heard that, I jumped up and I said, holy smokes, that Dearborn, Michigan area has been a hotbed of jihadism going back 40 years. And it makes you wonder how this city has been such a hub for this for so long, and nobody's ever addressed it. And now, buddy, it's a war zone up there. How do we get these cities? You talking about this city situation in Broken Arrow? And I've been through Broken Arrow. I got a good dear friend I'm talking to tonight that lives sort of close to there. And let me tell you something, brother, sister, how do we let these cities go this nutty without addressing it? It's too late once the genie's out of the bottle, and the genie's out of the bottle on this, Leslie.
I know. I was very alarmed when I heard that percentage. I just pray people wake up before they start implementing these policies. Then people will push back, but then it's too late. Look at what Mondami's doing right now. He is creating his communist grocery store. First, they were going to have ID to prove that people weren't coming over from New Jersey to buy cheap groceries and resell them at a 30% profit. So now they've backed out of that. They're not going to make you give an ID or identification of any sort. He almost had to do that. They had to do that, or they would look like the biggest idiot fools on the planet, because they're so against voter registration. And that's another thing. America, the Save America Act. I am so sick of John Thune and putting this off. I could scream.
I am with you there, but without five,
Democrats.
well, five Republican. No, listen. All it takes is five Republican senators to call for his resignation and get a new leader. Five. Leslie, you cannot tell me there are not five men with some guts that can't do that. And I think that he's just running the clock out because, look, if they don't pass this before this recess, it's not gonna affect the midterms. And I think that Trump knows that. And I think Thune is digging his own grave. And if this is how he wants to play it, look, he can kiss his political career goodbye. But what burns me up is it should be passed. And all the Republicans have to do is make him step down, put a leader up there that's got some guts, and hold the vote on it. I think that's all we want is a straight up vote. Because I think it's going to pass. And I think they'll need the filibuster. It's going to pass. But
yeah, I know.
The rhinos.
They're afraid of that.
Well,
they're afraid of that.
They're afraid of it. The rhinos, Tillis and Cornyn, don't even bother me as much anymore as John Thune does. He is the most despicable Senate Majority Leader we've ever had. And that's saying a lot considering we had Mitch McConnell here just a few years ago. That's saying a lot.
Oh, my gosh. And where is Waldo? I'm sorry. I mean, Mitch McConnell.
Probably at Bernie's, weekend at Bernie's. Just saying.
I mean, I'm
for those of us old enough to know that movie, I think they get the drift out there. He said a weekend at Bernie's. Let me give us an update. We're up to 66% of the votes in Michigan tonight, 489 to 455. The vote margin is growing, sadly, 49.8%, 46.4%. That is a 36,000 margin, Leslie. That was about, as I said, 23,000 a while ago. So the distance, that's going to be a large hole to climb out of with only 35% of the state, unless there's some really big hubs in Michigan that are really moderate and really conservative Democrats. But I don't think there's anything left in Michigan tonight. I don't think she's going to have the votes. I may be wrong. We've been wrong before on these elections. We've sit here and watched these numbers change in about 10 minutes. And I'm not going to call this election. AP's not calling it. Nobody's calling it right now. It's 11:12 Central Time, 12:12 in the East tonight. You're watching a very special live McFiles election night coverage. We've been talking about several things tonight. The assassination attempt of this crazy nut, Jeannie John Thame, 38. Go figure. I'm not going to just... I'll let the name speak for itself. I'm not making fun of it. It's hard though, Leslie. I hate to laugh at this stuff, but I swear, I shake my head at how nutty this country has gotten. And I know it's spiritual. I saw somebody post it out there a while ago that all this is spiritual. Folks, we're fully aware of that. I'm fully aware of that. But there is a part of me that says, how have we fallen off the track so hard? And, we had Judge Sherilyn Allen earlier tonight. She was talking about communism in the courts and how it's affecting society. She was doing such a great job. She actually she was preaching the same thing I taught on up in New York last weekend, and we did a Friday night special on it a few months ago. We may do another one on it again about the 45 goals of communism. But Leslie, these folks hadn't had to fire a shot. We're doing it to ourselves. This Michigan thing, this guy should have not even had 20% of the vote. This guy's got 50%. 50. He's got a 500,000 votes, buddy. This is crazy.
Do you think people are so taken with a pretty smile and someone who speaks well? I mean, he reminds me of the mold for Mondami and the fact that I'm slick, I do these videos, I'm cool. And really not. I mean, they do talk about the issues. They want universal health care. They want government intervention in our grocery stores, businesses, land. They talk about, Will Cain had a guy on today. I wish I could have seen him. He is part of the party. And he was talking about all the things, they need to change the court system completely. It needs to have 13 to 18 judges on it, the Supreme Court. They need to have this and that. I mean, it's not the same country. What is he talking about? It's not even in the same ballpark. So I don't know who is standing up with him and saying, gee, that's a good idea. Is it just so many people are uninformed or misinformed and they're like sheep?
Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea. This is the Gateway Pundit. They reported this about an hour ago. At that point, at one point tonight, Al Sayed had a 61.6 to 35% lead. She's closed that gap. But I tell you what, there has been a lot of money in this race. And if I was Mike Rogers, I got to ask you this question tonight. I know Mike Rogers is a good candidate, Leslie. He's with 68% of the vote now. It's 505 to 471, 49 to 46. He's still about almost 4 points up. Got to ask you a question about Rogers in this general election. Does it matter whether it's Al Sayed or Stevens? Do you think that he's going to take that? Because that's one of the hopes that the Democrats have for getting the Senate. I think their hopes in Maine are gone. But Michigan is a big state. And if we hold Michigan and we flip that seat, my friend, we've got a pretty decent shot at keeping the Senate. And that's big.
Yeah.
Because if the House goes Democrat, you think we're going to do that?
Yeah, I do. I thought that about Mamdani too, but city elections are very different than state and national elections. Yes. But I do think Mike Rogers, I can't think of a better person that would represent values, and he's got a track record to run on, and I just think he needs to get out there and put a damper on the I'm awesome and smile a lot and do a jig. And who are the voters? I mean, I love what Mike Baker said tonight. He said it's a large population of unmarried, white. Exactly right. Liberals that are driving this bus. And I find that to be incredible. You would think it would be, and there are some young people that are very disenchanted with what's happened. They're still living at in mom's basement. But guess what? Some of those are personal choices they make too. They're not all of them, but many of them are lazy and they think being a professional student is a job. And they become more and more indoctrinated. I'm sorry, that you have to take responsibility for your own life at some point.
Yeah. I'm going to put this picture into the chat. You won't be able to see it because we're on the phone. But it looks like right now that there are only 3 counties left that have not reported any votes at all. They're saying on this chart that there's 485,000 votes. So we probably are not going to stay up all night. I'm not going to stay up for the commie. But it's amazing that this map that I'm looking at, there are 5 counties, 1, 2, 3, 4, that have not reported any votes whatsoever. Mainly looks like north of Detroit, so sort of in that boot. It's all north. And then there's one county out west. And Stevens has, where the darker blue counties are, that would be where she looks like she's been winning. He won the upstate pretty handily, and he won around Lansing. He won around Detroit. He won the southwest part of the state of Michigan. But do you see? I'm not up on Michigan politics, and I don't know how that state is broken down politically. But I will tell you, it seems to me that she still may have a chance, Leslie, to pull this out. If there's 485,000 votes, she could surprise us. We could get up in the morning and he could be defeated. I hope that that's the case. But I tell you right now, I'm looking at these numbers, and, he's got right now, it's 69% of the vote in, 512 to 478. Again, that is a 34,000 vote lead. And he's right at 49. She's at 46. And we're getting close to having 70% of the vote in. What's your thoughts on that? We're going to go about 10 more minutes and we'll wrap this up tonight because I'm not going to stay up all night for him. It's an important election. I was hoping they would went ahead and called it, but, it is what it is.
Well, they, and I'm going to respectfully disagree with something you said earlier. You said you didn't feel like there was really cheating at this level. I disagree with you. I think, why are those counties not reporting yet? Do they want to do a vote dump? Are they
For him?
What's going? I don't know. I think they're not, but who knows? But I think they pick who they want.
Okay, and I'm not going to disagree with that. And I think I misstated what I said. I'm not saying the Dems don't cheat. It just seems to me why they would want to do that on their own primary. But again, it is the Dems. But I do got to ask you this question then, to play devil's advocate just a little bit. If you're looking at this race, and this is how I'm looking at it, the one that I want Mike Rogers to run against is that commie. The one I think is going to give him more of a challenge is Stevens. And I may be wrong about that, because she's more moderate. And look, this communist gets in, and I may have it backwards. It may be the communist we better be worried about, because he's got a lot of energy tonight. And all these communists have had a lot of energy. Who do you think is going to give him a bigger challenge, her or him? Because it would make sense that the Dems are going to bet. It seems to me the Dems are betting that the communist has a better chance of beating him in the general, unless they're just not even thinking that far ahead tonight. Because I have to tell you this. I don't know where I saw it, but there was some nut out there tonight that thought this was the election for the Senate. They were rejoicing that Al Sayed was going to be the next senator of Michigan if he won tonight, not realizing, no, this is just the primary. And this is how illiterate the American electorate is. And I probably misspoke a little bit when I said I didn't believe they were cheating. Look, the word cheating and Dems are side by side in a dictionary. I get it. But what I meant to say, it doesn't make sense why they would want to sabotage their own primary, because this is their man. Their man's ahead. He's been ahead in the polls. This is not like we're not seeing something brand new tonight.
It's not a shock.
He's been ahead in the polls all this time.
Well, it's like, if you think there wasn't cheating in 2020, think about the 2:30 a.m. vote dumps.
Well, that's true.
They want to wait and control when we're at our lull. Everybody goes to bed. They have a 200,000 vote dump, and it changes history. So I mean, I know. I don't know. I'm with you. I don't understand the point. But one thing I can say about that is the Democratic Party is in total chaotic disarray right now.
Now, if this was November, let me not interrupt you. I'll let you keep going, but not interrupt you. If this was November, okay, and this was Mike Rogers versus Al Sayed, then I would be, hey, y'all need to have the National Guard, the Air Force, the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force. I would even vote Batman to go up there and check the votes. Me too. And I'm not sure I even trust Batman at this point. But I don't believe that they're going to sit around and not try to cheat. But I'm just saying, I think it's a calculation. And let's just be honest with each other. And I don't know if we've talked about this as much tonight, and we'll talk about it here as we wrap it up. The Democrats created this monster. I hate to tell them, Carville and all Van Joneses and Bill Maher and all this bunch. Hey, just a year ago, they were trashing Trump and trashing the Republicans and trashing America, trashing the Republic, and, calling Trump the devil and calling Trump the Antichrist and everything else, Hitler. Yeah. Hey, they created this monster. And now the monster is about to eat them whole. And is Chris shedding any tears on it? I don't have any crocodile tears in my eyes tonight. I have no sympathy. And I hope it destroys the party. And I hope that the Republicans win 25,000 to 1 come November. I do. I think this is the end of the Democrat Party as we know it.
I think only really intelligent people understand the severity of what they're dealing with. I think a few do. I can't stand to listen to James Carville. He makes me crazy. I think Bill Maher, from the beginning, on this second term, he has been not really weary, I wouldn't use that word, but he's been more guarded about complaining about Trump. I mean, there's no question he's a liberal, but at least he can have a conversation with J.D. Vance or Trump or anyone. He went to dinner at the White House. I mean, what that says to me is I'm willing to break bread and have a conversation. And that's the nutty thing. Most of these people can't. I mean, John Fetterman could. I mean, there are a few Democrats that really get it. They realize they are going off the cliff, but not enough people know that.
Yeah.
It's a big talk. I bet it's a big talking point in closed circles where people are terrified. You know, they must be terrified.
I'll agree with that. My question to you, I guess, and this is what I don't, and I see some of the comments about the rats and the illegals voting. I just want to ask folks, not to be sarcastic about it, folks. Do you think the illegals are going to care about which Democrat they vote for? I mean, seriously, this is not even about that. This is about two ideologies that are going head to head tonight. And now the map that I'm looking at here on CNN is actually updated a little bit from the one that I was seeing on NBC. And I'm going to put this up there. And evidently some of these vote totals are coming in now. They are coming in now to the CNN desk. And I'll just put this up, Leslie, and I'll tell you what I'm looking at. Not that's the wrong one right there. Let me do this. I had it in front of me here, and let me bring this up. Now, as of just now, just within the last few minutes, 70% now of the votes are in. He's at 528. She's at 492. So it's still about 34, still about 34,000 votes. But the map of Michigan, those counties that were not showing on NBC, only one of them are dark blue, which is Alcied. Haley Stevens is getting a majority of the votes in those unreported counties. So what does that tell you? Do you think that is, are they, if they are cheating, again, I guess that's what I'm trying to come to grips with and get my head around. If they are cheating, trying to get one candidate over the other, do you think they're betting on Stevens being a better chance to beat Rogers than him, or do you think it's the communist push?
No, I think, well, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Correct.
These people, are working in tandem to beat, like so many of them say every day, I will do anything, I will die if we can beat Trump, if we can beat his candidates, if we can take them out. This is their life. And I'm just looking at the big picture. I mean, that is not an uber liberal place. There are pockets like any other state, but I think they would probably lean toward Haley. I do. I just think she is more moderate and people are more moderate. But of course, I was proven wrong with some of these. I mean, I can't believe Graham Plattner, and I mean, what this guy does, El Sayed, with that commie podcaster, I mean, it is just absolutely chilling to watch them talk about how much they hate Trump, how they want him dead. I mean, it isn't even subtle. At least people used to be more subtle. There is no subtlety. It is, we are coming after your throat. And I think the average American doesn't love that.
I'll agree. I just want to give a shout out real quick. I want to welcome all our X-viewers tonight. I hadn't forgot about you guys, our Facebook audience and our Rumble audience. We have got a vibrant audience over there tonight. We've almost got as many in X as we do in YouTube tonight. I want to welcome you all. Thank you all. I fail to mention you sometimes, and I don't want you to think that we don't appreciate you listening to us. A lot of you are on our X account at the McFiles 45. We want to welcome you in, and we're grateful for you. And send us a message if you're enjoying the show. And share it out, please, and help us get some viewers and listeners over there on X and Rumble. Leslie, I'm going to look at this again. I'm really, it's intriguing to me. He's gaining. He's up now, almost 38,000 votes now, 71%. He's at 536. She's at 498 and 49.8 to 46.3. The percentage is not changing, but the vote total is. What does that tell you at this late hour with 70% reporting?
Well, it tells me there's something shady. It's just like I say with California. Why does it take you a month to count votes when Florida can count votes in 30 minutes? Or Oklahoma can, or Arkansas, or Tennessee? I just find that to be so suspect that that's the way things are kind of going down to these last few counties. Don't you find that suspect? I mean, that really bothers me.
Well,
that
it bothers me for
right.
all states because it seems like the blue states are always like this. And this is why this stupid decision by the Supreme Court here a few weeks ago is going to come home to roost when they basically extended voting hours and allowed the states to set when ballots can be counted. I think it was one of the biggest mistakes other than the anchor baby situation this court's ever made. And, Judge Allen was honest. She was at least very transparent tonight. And, she was not defending their decisions, but she said, the judges have to rule how they view the Constitution. And she says they cannot view it politically. They have to view it constitutionally. And sometimes constitutionally may ruffle our feathers, even on the right. I think it was a bad decision. I'll stay by my opinion about that. I understand where the judge was coming from. She's a precious lady. But you can't tell me that decision wasn't political. And that was one thing we agreed on, that you just cannot rule from the bench politically. And that's where we're at right now. These courts are making decisions, Leslie, and they're running the country from the bench instead of letting Trump run it as president. And this is what their goal was. And there's no way of getting them off the bench. She as good as said tonight that she does not believe that Kajani Brown Jackson will ever be, until she steps down or passes on. I mean, that's the only two ways that you lose a Supreme Courtship is you resign or you die, because that's your life. And I don't see her ever stepping down. I just don't, because she's radical. She don't know what a woman is, but she's all in on her radical left-wing policy. So that's one vote we can just throw away into the trash can. And that's why elections matter. And that's why Senates matter and House membership matters. But the Senate especially, because they control the Supreme Court decisions.
Right.
One final couple of other questions. What are your thoughts on the makeup of the Congress when we get to January in the Senate? Do you think these rhinos getting voted out? Do you think that we're going to have a good enough majority that Trump can get his agenda through and get some of these executive orders codified into law? Thune's got to go. Thune's got to go. I'll put it like this. That Senate had better not put him back in power, or there's going to be some really ticked off people out here in the country.
I don't think he will. I think McConnell is kind of a joke too. I hope he's not voting and trying to participate. That's the word, but I don't believe it for a second. I think Lindsey Graham will be missed greatly. I think we do have conservatives that can probably fill in that gap. That I don't think anybody could be more pro-Israel and pro-Trump than Lindsey Graham was, but there will be somebody that can fill those shoes. Maybe not as well, but I feel better about our election chances than I have ever.
I do too.
Since in this cycle, I feel like the Democrats are eating their young, and they're just in chaotic downfall. And I pray that continues. I hope, because that will be good for us. And if we could pick not only, keep the Senate, but pick up one or two seats, that would be incredible.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually more confident about the House too.
Are you really?
I think that we're going to be pleasantly surprised. I'm just going to be honest with you. I think that Leslie, these House races, a lot of these House races have gone so far left. I think what's going to happen in November, I may be wrong, The same thing that happened to a degree, I think, in 2020 with Trump. Trump was a good candidate, but there were people that hated Trump because of his personality. And a lot of Republicans didn't go vote in 2020. There's a lot of Republicans that didn't go vote in 2024, but there was many that did. But Trump, what he won on was the independent vote in 24. Where the independents swung against him in 2020, they swung for him in 24. But his own party betrayed him in 2020. I think, and I may be wrong about this, that this Democrat swing to the left is going to sour many of the Joe Manchins, the moderate Dems, and I think they're going to sit home. And I think that's going to give the Republicans a golden opportunity. But let me caution our audience, that does not mean that we sit on our backsides and don't go vote. We better go vote. And we better vote in big numbers. And we better vote, because I don't think that any midterm that we've ever had is going to be as more important as this. Because if Trump can finish his 2 years, I think he can put into place some things that will stay with this country for decades. And it will take a long time to unravel if he can get both houses back and get mega candidates in there and people that are going to work with him and not against him. If we can keep him from being shot. If we can keep him from being shot. And I don't mean that lightly tonight.
No, I mean, the exasperation they must have, security in the White House. I mean, this is almost a monthly occurrence, or at least quarterly, and we have to deal with this. We have to put up with it because it's not being resolved. In my opinion, this Charlie Kirk thing is far from resolved. I know people say, oh, we've got great evidence and da-da-da. Yes. My question, too, I was thinking about Charlie Kirk when we were talking about him earlier. Where were the people that were brave enough to stand up when these people, like this guy that just tried it, and Ruth, who was in Florida, and all these guys, Tyler Robinson, who didn't say anything because they were afraid they would look stupid? They knew this guy was cratering. They knew his parents talked about what an incredible change he'd made in the last year. He'd gone pretty much nuts. When do you, as a human being that's in someone's life like that, when do you come forward and say, I think we have a problem, or at least talk to them?
Yeah, it's a great point.
I don't think that
great
happens.
Point,
It doesn't happen enough, because I think some of this, I don't think there's any question that these people are, loners and things like that. But I mean, this partner of the Charlie Kirk assassinator, he knew what was going on. I'm sorry. You would have to live under a rock if you're living with somebody and they're engraving bullets while you're watching TV.
Yeah. Another big story that's developing, this is in just in the last few minutes, and this crazy nut, and God, I hate to say that, but it's the truth. Thandahar and the Michigan's 13, he is down. He's losing to the progressive 33-30 right now in this runoff. And there's several votes that have not been counted. I can't see the poll here. They've got me blocked from it. But let me see what CBS News has to say about it. He is actually losing right now, 33,000 to 30, 52 to 47, with 50% of the voting. And that race has been going back and forth to Donovan McKinney, who is a absolute. He's crazier than Thandahar, but I can't stand Thandahar for one reason. He's not born here. He is not a natural born citizen. Do you think that we need to outlaw people being in any election if they're not born in America? I say yes. I think that should be a requirement.
Absolutely. I mean, if not for the president, why do we want these people in the Senate who don't love America? It goes back to what's best for our country. You are serving the people, and you cannot serve the people if your allegiance is somewhere else. And this just slays me. I do not know why this has not become a really big thing to me. I mean, everybody talks about, I remember when Schwarzenegger was governor, him talking about, well, I could never run for a higher office, because I wasn't born here. And I thought, why do we elect anyone like that? Yeah, and that guy doesn't look very good groveling either, does he? The little Indian guy. God, what? Did you see him eating pizza and saying, please vote for me?
Yeah, I saw that. He was dancing with the old women. There he is right there. We got him on the screen. I can't believe, but again, Leslie, I go back, and I know we've kept you a little bit longer. Can you give me 5 more minutes?
I'm fine.
As long as you're fine, I'm going to keep going here a little bit. I'm giving us an update, and I'm going to talk about him. 71% in, folks, still. Roughly 36,000 votes, still separating 37,000 now, Said and Stevens. I've got Thandidar's picture. He was a weaselly little runt, and I couldn't stand the sound of his voice. He tried to impeach Trump only about 100 times while he's in office.
I know.
And people like this should never have been allowed on a ballot. But my question to the Michigan people is, what in God's green earth are you thinking? Putting people like this in power. This is what drives me insane with this country, Leslie. He shouldn't have been in power to begin with.
No, it's because not enough people are educated about the vote and the people that they're voting for. And the radicals are always the one that ignite their base. I mean, I applaud the Republicans in 2024 because of what happened in 2020, which I think Trump won. I think the vote dump was I really wish all that would come out. I think we're seeing more stuff come out, and we will continue. I think the administration's been pretty good about releasing some of really, like the Russia hoax and the impeachments and all of this. I mean, they're letting people know what's going on, but I still think there's a huge population that still doesn't believe it.
I do. I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that. No, I totally agree with that. I'm trying to get an update on this CNN poll because the CNN was a little more updated. We're at a lull right now with the vote total on, let me go back to CNN tonight. And as of right now, it's still showing 71%. So that's been about 15 minutes. They've not added any more vote totals to that, Leslie. That's sort of a weird thing. That goes to tell you that the vote stopped. You remember the night that me and you we had James Akers on and we had Magdalene. But it wasn't the presidential election. It was the midterms.
It was 22.
It was 22.
Yeah.
And we went through this very same thing. And we were, that was the year that everybody was expecting this red wave, that the Congress was going to swing way back to Republicans. It never happened. And we set up about this length of time. We set up till about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. And we couldn't get vote totals. It just stopped. And I think you're onto something, that we may be looking at a vote drop here, a miraculous rain from heaven.
You know what? I don't put anything past the Democrats.
I swear.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna have to break my identity as Batman. I'm just gonna have to go to Michigan and clean this mess up. I'm sorry. Me and Batman have never been seen in the same room together at the same time. That's all I got to say. But I don't think Batman could keep these people from cheating right now, buddy.
No,
I just don't.
I mean, I think they cheated in 2024 too, but I think the outcome was so great that they couldn't overcome it. And I think because of COVID and so many circumstances just lining up, I think they were able to pull it off in 2020. And I will go to my grave thinking that. And if you show me evidence otherwise, I'm open to looking at real evidence. But I believe that with all my heart. I think they tried to cheat in 24, but it was a tsunami. Thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
And we won't know this tonight, I guarantee you, which concerns me.
Yeah. It's good to see all our late nighters in the house tonight. You're watching a very special live McFiles election coverage on this Tuesday night. Now it's Wednesday morning in the East. It's 8:05. It's 11:44 here in Central Time Zone. Where me and Leslie's at, it's 11:44. And Leslie, I appreciate you being with us. Can you got 15 more minutes in? You can keep it at midnight. Now you ain't gonna walk. You're not gonna call in sick to work tomorrow and say, "Hey,
No.
I was on late with my podcast host, buddy." And don't let me get you in trouble. If you need to go, you can go.
No,
But
I'm fine.
okay,
I may cheat an extra hour of sleep tonight.
good.
That's okay.
That'll be fine. And we'll get you out of here in 15 minutes because I'm going to wrap this up here at midnight Central. No matter what, I may carry on a little bit with the audience, but no update right now. I need to change that. We just got an update. In fact, she's closed the gap now. Or no, she has not. It's 36,000. 74% of the votes in now, and he maintains a 567 to 531 vote counting. Leslie, this guy could very well top 1 million votes in Michigan tonight. Can you believe that? That is unreal. It's unbelievable. I can't wait. I've been waiting for this Stevens search. She had it earlier tonight when he jumped out to that 61-35 lead. They started counting the votes around Detroit and the south central part of Michigan, and that gap went from 61-35 to 48-48, just like boom, in a matter of 10 minutes. Yeah. And now he's pulled ahead of her, and he's not let that lead go, probably for about 4 hours now. Since it happened around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock Eastern, and he's not let that lead go. Does that tell you that he's going to win this? I know it's hard to read it because we still got 26% of the electorate to go, but at some point, I do know I just read on CNN's wire that he is about to make an announcement, and she is too. Makes you wonder if she's going to if one of them are going to concede. I don't think it's going to be him because he's in the lead.
No, I don't either.
But you think she's getting ready to concede?
Oh, gosh. Would you with only 70, unless they know something we don't know? Once again, I don't think there's transparency in this. That bothers me. I don't know. He looks like he's definitely got more votes. He's up a bit. So unless manna from heaven rains down and she gets more votes, I would say that she's toast.
This is what she's up against. Think about this. She's 36,000 votes down with 24% of the vote to go. Okay. She's got to make up the 36,000 to begin with. That's a lot. That's a lot of votes. That means one county or two counties are going to have to these 5 counties that are out there are going to have to swing almost,
60
I would say 60. Well, I would say 70-30 in each one.
Yeah, I would too.
That's not been the trend tonight because I've looked at that map and it's really about 50-50 the counties. I mean, she's gotten a lot of counties. He's gotten a lot of counties. But in politics, it ain't about the number of counties. It's about the number of votes.
Right.
And if you win by one vote tonight, if he wins by one vote, even if it's 51-49, he wins. He wins.
Right.
So she's got a long road to hoe. I would have thought by now. I kept watching these numbers when it was at 50% because we've been on the air about 2 hours now, an hour and a half tonight. I thought when she pulled within 22,000 votes, that was when the surge was coming. I felt like that was when she was going to catch him. It's went the other way. So I think she's in trouble tonight. I think Michigan's in trouble. It ain't her that's in trouble. I ain't worried about Haley Stevens. Haley Stevens will run again somewhere. I'm worried for the people of Michigan tonight and where they're thinking. And I'm assuming that's you out there, Marlon Brown, the Straight Talk MB guy. And Marlon, I asked the question, what were they thinking? He said they're not thinking. And I tend to agree with him. Too many jokers and so forth, and that's the truth. But, I will tell you, Marlon, it's good to see you tonight, friend. It's been a while. But I will tell you this. It is unreal that this is happening. And Julia, he did jump ahead suddenly at the beginning, but she tied him. But he's pulled away sort of steadily throughout the night. This lead has gone, the vote total has grown deeper and more pronounced. It was only 20,000 votes here about 2 hours ago, so he's getting some momentum.
It's doubled, yeah.
Leslie,
yeah,
does he? Sure. does that? Do you think this is a trend in other blue? Does this bode bad for Wisconsin next Wednesday? Because we got another election I'm going to have you back on talking about next Tuesday night with Hong. The Wisconsin people are about to elect this nut as the Democratic nominee for governor.
You know what? She may be good because I think she's crazy. The more she talks, the crazier. I heard a full interview today. I was listening in the car driving around working, and I thought, my goodness, this has got to be a parody. And I realized, because she started talking about having a biracial child and all that we talked earlier, I thought, this has got to be a parody. This cannot be real life. People do not think that way. And so I say, let her run her mouth and talk, and we'll get that seat. I'm not worried about that. She is scary, but I think she's crazy. But this smiling Muslim kind of, I'm your happy guy who loves you all, I think that's the scary part. I'm with you. Satanic. I mean, that is Satan.
Well, I will tell you, I'm looking at the county chart now, and there are still, if you can believe this, at this late hour, there is 1, 2, 3, 4. There are still 5 counties, and this may be why they're not calling the race. We're at 75% of the vote. There are still 5 counties that have not reported any voting at all in Michigan tonight. How does that happen?
Wow.
Listen. If Chris McDonald goes on American Idol and I suck, okay, it will take them 30 seconds to vote me off the stage, okay? I'm just saying.
Right.
How can we count 50 or 400 million votes, or not that many, but how can we count 30 million votes in America to vote Chris McDonald off the stage and gong him? And we can't count 500,000 votes in Michigan tonight in about an hour. Give me a break.
Yeah, that's why I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. I mean, 40 years ago or 50 years ago, when I was close to voting, we got election results and they were paper and they were counted. And I'm not saying there was never any fraud or anything like that, but hey, if we can do that in 1970, what's the problem? We can walk on the moon, we can do all kinds of things. We're getting ready to send people to Mars, but we can't vote. We can't count votes on election night. I find that highly suspect. Oh, I just got an update that she is speaking right now.
I'm going to let you listen, and I'm going to talk to these folks here. Folks, it's good to see everybody tonight, and I'll read some of the comments. Bear, I'm with you about this one, buddy. She is crazier than AOC.
Yes, she is.
She is nutty. She is nutty. And Bear says maybe we're not in the majority anymore. I don't doubt that either, Bear. I think that might be a reality we better start considering. But I'm curious what she's about to do, Leslie, because it is late. It is a midnight Central Time. And unless her people, because they always do these internal pollings before they concede. I will tell you he's still at 36,000 votes ahead at this late hour. That's a heavy duty load to catch up to, unless there's a county out there that's got 36,000 votes she thinks she can pull from, but that means he can't get any, because you got to remember, unless it's a Joe Biden kind of election where Joe Biden won 100-0 in Georgia and Fulton County that night when the pipes went, the power went out for 6 hours like a bunch of crazy cheaters. Unless there's a Joe Biden counter out there, I don't think she's going to win 100-0. Do you?
Oh, no. And, there may be some of those counties where she is strong. I'm with you. I know some politics there, but certainly not like I know some other places. So I don't know what her stronghold is. I would imagine it's not Detroit. I would imagine it's more on the western part and everything, but I don't know that. Where is she from? What part of the state is she from?
I
Do you
don't
know?
remember, but I never heard that much about her. In fact, the media, this is the thing about the media. The media is complicit in this because I did not hear much about Haley Stevens. All we've heard about from CNN, MSNL, CBS, ABC, NBC has been Al Said. They have
Right.
pushed him. And this is the hypocrisy of it. The media even is concerning themselves all of a sudden with this communist push with the Democrats. They made this monster, Leslie. They pushed these candidates.
Created it.
They created it.
Absolutely.
They created the atmosphere for this. When you do what you do, and again, I've got no sympathy for Van Jones tonight. I got no sympathy for James Carville. I like Bill Maher. He's funny. He's a little vulgar sometimes, and I have to, shut him off. But he does speak some common sense things from time to time. For the most part, I don't agree with him. He wouldn't agree with me.
Me either.
But
and that's fine.
But he's scared to death.
Have a conversation. Yeah.
He's scared to death, and they have a good right to be, but they need to look at the mirror of what they did, because they created this, and they pushed this party so far to the left and hating Trump. This is what you get. And as I said, it's about to eat their party alive, because I do not see this party doing well in November. I hope I'm right about that. And if I'm wrong, me and you're going to be up late, and we're going to be shedding some tears on this program. We're going to be crying. Yeah,
that's right.
So I'm giving you, what I'm doing is I'm getting you ready. I'm getting you it's like a workout, Millwee, for November, because we'll be up to 3 a.m. come November election night in November. So I'm getting you. This is your exercise. This is your workout before we get to the real stuff.
For it.
All righty.
I love it. I think it's going to be great, and I feel better about the elections than I felt since we won in 2024. So I just hate that Trump can't do what Trump does most of the time because of all this background and everything. If we could have 2 years with him being able to enact his agenda and ideas, I think this country will soar. But I think we've got to do that.
Yeah. Haley Stevenson, Cleo says, worked on Hillary's presidential campaign. So that tells you what kind of Democrat she is. So she's a Hillary.
Oh, Lordy.
She's the only thing I can see here. She's cut the lead to 43,000 votes, but that's still, or 33,000.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of votes, and it's about that. It's now up to 77%. So I mean, at some point, somebody's going to have to say
no
uncle.
Return. Yeah. It'll be past the point of no return anytime now.
The only thing I can think of is that she is waiting, I think, to see where those counties that have not started counting come in. And, we'll have to say that by ear. Folks, it's almost 1 o'clock in the East, and it's 12 o'clock midnight. We're going to cut the feed here in a minute. I'm going to let Leslie go because she's got to get up in the morning and work, and I do too, but I'm just working here. She's got to go work. Buddy, I want to tell you how grateful I am for your friendship first, for you being with us tonight. Always a great discussion, and I hope people was encouraged by the things you said, and I love our banner. We do so good with this, and I hope we can work on. I'm serious. I think it's developing into something that's going to be a regular thing. And I'm thanking you. But listen, I want you to get some rest and hang loose Thursday, because we got the Thursday night stuff coming up and Friday night too, and might get you back on to sort of wrap up this week, because we'll know hopefully by Thursday what's happened here and what we're dealing with, and we'll have a lot to talk about then, and we'll talk more about Fauci maybe later in the week. God bless you, my friend. I'm going to let you go now.
You too.
Have a good night, my friend. Thank you for coming to the call. Leslie Millwee, everybody, and thank you for y'all being with us tonight, and it's good to see Marlon Brown in the house. Marlon, God bless you. Good to see you, friend. The latest we've got right now, folks, with 77% in. We'll pull the screen in here one more time before we let you go. It is 589,500 to 557, 8819. That's 49.3 to 46. She's closed the gap a little bit, but not by much. It's still about 31,000 votes, but she's going to have to, if she's going to outpace him in these final hours, that's going to have to change quickly. And there's no way to know. I'm checking the wires right now to make sure that she is not conceded. I doubt she has, but Vandahar is still behind about 5 percentage points to his opponent. And let me see what is going on here. She is not conceded. All that we know right now is that he is up basically 49 to 43 in the percentage. And as I said, one more time, we'll check it out here. Really no change in that. There are 5 counties in Michigan that have not reported any votes. And that's going to be the story as we leave you tonight. Now, we'll be on here tomorrow. Tomorrow's Faith Day. You won't see us on the news side. It'll all be on the Spirit and Word Fire Network. If there's a reason to check our Telegram room, that's where we'll update you with the election results overnight. And thank you, Cleo, for being with us tonight, my dear. Bless you, friend. Bless you, bless you, bless you. And thank you for staying up with us, moderating out there. And please check our Telegram room. That's where we put our updates of the news. We'll follow this thing with President Trump, the situation with this assassination attempt. It is an assassination attempt in my mind. That's number 5, folks. That's number 5. And we'll have a lot to say about that Thursday night. We hate Magdalene couldn't be with us. I didn't hear back from her. It was probably, she was a little late last night, and we're going to try to get her back here this week. I want to say thank you to all our X audience tonight, folks. We had such a vibrant audience over in X tonight. And just checking again, we have, let's see, almost 77 viewers there. And with what we've got in Facebook and YouTube, we've got close to 200 live viewers right now, this late at night. How about that? So either you all are very bored, the coffee is kicked in, and you're watching this gray-headed Southerner run his mouth till 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're saying, what kind of dude is this? Or you just interested in politics, and you're interested in this vote, and you're up pacing the floor tonight, afraid the commies are going to take over. For whatever reason it is that you're here tonight, we've been grateful to have you. And it's bedtime. It's 1 o'clock. Stay with the McFiles throughout the week. We'll be back on here Thursday night. We've got Stacy Shiflett. We've not had Stacy in a mighty long time. 8 o'clock Eastern, 8:30. And then we'll have another late show Thursday night to update the election and so forth. We got our dear friend Theo Padnos coming back next Tuesday night. You do not want to miss Theo. He's got a lot to say about this immigration, about Spain. And Miller will be with us next week. We're going to talk about the eclipse and as of now. And who else we got next week? We got Jonathan Tarrant coming back. And James, Leslie, Magdalene. Magdalene's got some new guests coming for us. And Tony Branco is sitting in the bullpen. He'll be back this month. Will Federer is coming back this month. So we're going to have a full month of guests. As I said, July was a pretty rough month for us, traveling and all, but we're settled back down and here pretty much every night for the most part. And trying to keep you updated, keep you encouraged. Thank you for being with us on the McFiles. Tuesday night with the one and only Leslie Millwee. If you enjoyed Leslie, put some fire in that house. Thank you, Cleo, for being with us out there. All you guys, Marlon, good to see you. Others of you. Folks, thank you for being with us tonight. We'll keep you updated. One final tally before we leave. 77, it's not really changed. It's 589 to 558. That is a 31,000 vote tally. So she is cut into that lead a little bit, but not by much. So it looks like Michigan is on the way, at least, as of this hour, to elect an Al-Sayed, the communist jihadist, as their Democrat nominee for Senate. And we'll talk about that more Thursday. Have a good night, everybody. Be blessed, and we hope that you will get some rest out there. Have a good night, everybody. Be blessed. Good night.